All right. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you. Hi, Camille. My name is Amanda, and I'm going to be doing a presentation about the AADSAS application. So thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, we're gonna start. Can everyone see my screen? Chat says yes. Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. All right. So if you are here, you are a pre-dental student. The AADSAS is for pre-dental students. This is not for pre-med students or pre-PA. This is only pre-dents. So yeah. All right. So just a little bit about me. My name is Amanda. I recently graduated from Hunter College back in December, and I'm an incoming D1 at Columbia Dental School. And yeah, I majored in human biology, and I just really enjoyed my time at Hunter, and I'm grateful to be here today. All right, so we're gonna go through 5 sections of the whole AADSAS dental school application process. So 1, before the application, 2, preparing, 3, applying, 4, choosing a school, and then just some closing words. Okay, so before the application. So I think it's really important to, before you apply, whether it's a year before you apply, a few months before you apply, or even 3 years before you apply, to really ask yourself questions. So first, and this is very obvious, and many of you probably heard this a million times already, why dentistry? Why are you doing dentistry? Are you doing this just for money? Or are you doing this because you really want to make a difference in healthcare and in people's lives? Are you doing this because of your ego, or are you doing this because you love science and you want to, help patients? I think it's really important to reflect upon that and practically also reflect on it, because when you apply, you have to have a really good answer for this question. 2, what's your narrative? So what does that mean? Narrative is kind of the story you're telling when you apply to dental school. These schools are receiving so many applications, and you're going to have to kind of know your story really well and kind of craft a story for yourself. Everyone has a story naturally, but you're also going to have to craft it in such a way that kind of makes you like a nice little package or present for them. So that's important to think about as well. And 3, a yearly plan. So if you're 3 years out from applying to dental school, obviously you should make a yearly plan for your academics, a yearly plan for when you're going to shadow, a yearly plan, just based off of kind of just a vague overview of making sure you're hitting all the checklists. Yeah. And then if you're a few months out from applying, which some of you may be, do a monthly plan. What is your next 12 months going to look like? Um, just kind of hitting check boxes and planning that. All right, so this is before the application. So these are really fundamental things you need to know before you apply, and just make sure you have it down. So 1 is the DAT and 2 is your GPA. So for those of you who don't know, the DAT is the mandatory admissions test for dental school, and it is composed of 4 sections. So there's science, there's this section called the PAT, there's reading comprehension, and there's quantitative reasoning, which is math. Science is composed of biology, gen chem, and orgo. And then the rest of the 4 sections are the sections that I said. So this year, starting on March 1st, the scoring of the DAT has changed. So instead of being scored from 1 to 30, the scoring is changing from 200 to 600. Every section is scored separately, Your most important sections are going to be the academic average, so that's overall. But keep note of this. This does not include, the academic average does not include your PAT score. And then the total science. So that's going to be your bio, gen chem, and orgo score kind of averaged out together. So these are what the schools are really, really looking at. I will say that, so for example, if your reading comprehension is under, I'm just using a number, but if it's under like 15, under 17, and the rest of your sections are like 30, 30, 30, that's still a red flag for the schools, because why is your reading comp so low? So it's important to do well overall, of course. But if your orgo section's a 30 and your reading comp's a 12, that's still going to be a red flag for schools, and I would advise you to retake the exam. So you're going to take this exam months before you apply. Another tip is when you register for the DAT, select all schools. When you study for this test, whenever you guys may be planning that in your yearly plan, do not plan to retake the test mentally. Mentally, you should have a one and done mindset. That means that you are putting everything into the DAT. I recommend taking at least 2 months to study for the test, and don't mentally say, well, oh, I'm gonna try, you know, but I know I have another shot. Don't do that. Just try to take it one and done. And then secondly, just fundamentally, and this is more for people who are not very close to applying, your GPA always needs to be the highest priority on your list. You cannot change your GPA after you finish school, but you can change how many shadowing hours you have, how much research you do. You can change all of those things, but you cannot change your GPA. So just a word of advice is to always make sure your GPA is your highest priority all throughout college. Okay, so just to let you guys know, this is for the people taking the DAT after March 1st, 2025. There's going to be the new DAT scoring. So DAT score, I believe for the committee letter, you have to get a 22 or above in order to qualify. So I'm just going to use that as an example. So if you need a 22, then that would correspond to a 460 academic average. So just keep these things in mind. This is all on AADSAS's website. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And then here's the percentile. So 460 is the 88th percentile. So that means that you scored higher than 88% of applicants, test takers, if you scored a 460. Okay, so again, before the application, you need to make sure you have experiences in dentistry and just in general. So of course, this is a must. You must have shadowing and or assisting experience. This is important to show and confirm your desire to pursue dentistry in general. And many schools have a requirement, and that requirement can vary from 50 to 100 hours. I think I might have even seen more, maybe 150 for one of the schools I applied to. So this is a must, and I'm sure many of you know that already. So where do you start? You can ask your personal dentist. There are so many opportunities on the pre-health listserv. So yeah, and research. So research is not required for dental schools at all. Do not do research unless you are very interested in research. Now, some dental schools are research oriented. For example, Harvard Dental School is very research oriented. You have to do a research project in the school. So naturally, if you're interested in research, you would be applying to more research oriented schools maybe. So if you're interested in doing research, where do you start? Think about your interests. I really recommend cold emailing PIs and just different lab pages. And of course, there are just so many opportunities, again, on the pre-health listserv. Now this is also imperative. So while research wasn't required, shadowing and or assisting is absolutely required. And I also think volunteering is absolutely a requirement in order to apply to dental school. You are going to need high quality and meaningful experiences rather than quantity. So someone with 100 hours of really meaningful volunteering experience means a lot more than maybe someone with 300 hours of maybe they're, it doesn't mean much to their application, or it seems like they just did it for the sake of just doing it. So where do you start? Think about things that you are really passionate about, things that you really want to volunteer for, and to practically get these experiences, reach out to advisors, contact hospitals, research organizations, but it really can be anything. This does not have to be science related at all. This can just be something that you really want to do, and that's how I took my own volunteering experiences. I love teaching, and I am also a musician, so I just used that part of myself and expressed it through volunteering. So I think that's a good word of advice. And then leadership is also not required, but it's a really good look, and you should aim to be a leader in whatever setting you are. Now, it's not required that you are the president of the Pre-Dental Society, but I mean, dentists are naturally leaders in their own communities. So we're all leaders if we're applying anyway. So yeah. Okay, so letters of recommendation. So for your letters of recommendation, I would urge you to ask at least 3 months in advance. Now it's never too early to ask, and you don't want to wait till really last minute because people are busy, and it's just rude if you wait too late. And then also make sure you confirm that the formatting guidelines are met for all of these letters of recommendations. For example, one of the letters of recommendations was written by my music professor, and he accidentally put that I was applying to the pre-dental program. That's not true. I was applying to dental school. So he had to go and fix that. So just keep that in mind and really be clear when you are sending your letter of recommendation requests. Personal statement. So you're going to have this before you apply as well. It is 4,500 characters maximum, and just some words of advice. Think about who you are. Think about the activities that you've been involved in throughout college or even prior to, and the insights that you have that would make you a great dentist. And then also another word of advice is seek feedback. It is not a sign of weakness to ask for help. And I think it's really important to ask for help for the personal statement as well. You don't want to be submitting with any mistakes. And then there's some, besides grammar mistakes or sentence mistakes, there's some like no-nos that you shouldn't be putting in the personal statement. And I think it's important to just ask for other people's, fresh pair of eyes. Now, the secondaries. So for those of you who do not know what the secondary statements are, these are additional or supplemental questions that schools are going to ask you. For example, if you apply to NYU dentistry, the secondary question for them is, why do you want to go to NYU dentistry? So this is a great opportunity to showcase different aspects of you and who you are. Do not repeat anything in your primary application. With anything you do on this application, you want to make sure you are showing them and helping them know as much about you as possible. And with the secondaries, you're really going to want to tailor the responses. So, for example, if Stony Brook Dental School is really clinically about clinical dentistry, which is true, they have a huge emphasis on clinical dentistry, and you also are applying to Harvard, who's really focused on research, you don't want to say in your why Stony and why Harvard, you don't want to submit the same thing for them because one school is really focused on research and the other cares about clinical more. So you want to tailor your responses. So yeah, pre-write the essays. Pre-write the essays. You don't want to be scrambling in the summer. And they give you like a 2-week period to submit them, and you don't want it to you don't want time to ever be a reason that you don't get into dental school. All right, so continuing, preparing the application. What is AADSAS? So everything I just said applies to everyone, and more applies to people who aren't going into this application process in the next few months, because hopefully those who are applying in the next few months are kind of, they should know the prior information. What is AADSAS? So it is the ADEA, Associated American Dental Schools Application Service. So this is for most US dental schools. It opens in mid-May, and it's not submitted until the beginning of June. What does that mean? Well, last year, so these dates are not for you guys because they don't have those dates on the website yet. So I just took the old dates from my application cycle. So May 14th, the application opened for you to fill in everything. And when I say, like, take this so seriously, that time from May 14th to June 4th, you have to make sure everything is in there. Every single essay needs to be perfectly pristine. The information needs to be correct, because once June 4th comes, or whenever the date is for you guys, you want to be able to hit submit. Then there's also academic update periods. So what that means is you can just go ahead and give them new transcripts. For example, I took a summer class, so I submitted my summer class grades in the time period of August 14th to September 30th. December 15th, it's actually accidentally says 2023, but December 15th of 2024 was the first day that decisions are released. So if you apply within the first week of it opening, you are most likely going to receive your acceptances on December 15th, but that date may change. And then the last date to submit materials is February 7th. I accidentally clicked next. Okay, so here's what the AADSAS portal looks like. I think this is so helpful for people who are currently applying. So that's going to be people applying in May for the 2025 to 2026 cycle. So if you weren't paying attention to what I was saying all before, pay attention to this because this is the most important thing for you guys. Okay, so you're going to apply to make an account. So you're going to use a professional email that you check regularly. There's 4 sections on the application: personal information, academic history, supporting information, program materials. And then at the top right of this picture over here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, it says check status, and you can see your application status throughout the whole cycle. Okay, so section 1, personal information. This is really important. If you are applying, please listen to this. Okay, so in the personal information section, there are a few other mini essays that you might not be prepared for, which is why you need to know and look through this once May 14th or whenever the application filing period opens. So there's an environmental factors section. So you're going to click whether you're disadvantaged or not. And then there's also a childhood residency statement, which is 250 characters. That is not a lot of information. And I believe that they just want to know more about you. And so for this, you take advantage of every single spot that you get to talk about yourself. Take advantage of it. So I got to put information that wasn't in the rest of my application by telling, I live with a lot of people, so I got to say all the people that I live with in my childhood residency application. And who knows, maybe that touched one of the admission officers' hearts. So just put everything in. Now, in other information, there's the COVID-19 impact essay, 2,500 characters. And I know what some of you may be thinking, COVID-19, that was so long ago, 2020. It doesn't matter, right? No, think about anything during COVID that happened to you that may have maybe pushed you to go into dentistry or impacted your life. Don't leave anything blank. Do not leave anything blank. You want to submit something about how COVID-19 impacted your life, or just dentistry, your career path in general, even if it was a long time ago. And then this is required, the manual dexterity question. So if you are not familiar, dental schools are going to be asking you, obviously they're asking you on this primary application and in your interviews, how do you demonstrate manual dexterity? I have the questions here. So that activities requiring hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills such as cross-stitching, sewing, arts, crafts, etc. So you have to demonstrate how you are good with your hands. So start thinking about that if you haven't been thinking about that. And develop a 600 character statement about that. All right, section 2 is academic history. All right, so I know this might seem really straightforward, but there's just some little quirks that you still need to know. So college and universities attended, that's something you're going to put on here. So after spring 2025 grades, sorry I said 2024, it's 2025 grades are on your transcript. Order the electronic transcript from Parchment. So if you are applying after spring 2025 grades are released, order the electronic official transcript from Parchment. And then what you're going to do is you're manually going to enter all the courses and grades as they appear on your transcript. So, important to know, AADSAS offers a transcript entry service for about $60. Now, this is just another way for them to make money, and there have been accounts of students encountering mistakes with this service. So you're your best advocate. You file in the transcript grades. Don't let someone else do it. You do it. Just be careful. Quintuple check everything. This is double check? No, check it 5 times. And then, of course, you're going to enter your DAT scores as well in the academic history section. All right, this is just a picture of what it may look like. So, just to let you all know, this is something that I was a little confused about. So, if you have AP credits from high school, for example, down here, this last one over here, you can see, oh, I have my spotlight. Can everyone see that? So, Hist 151, I never took that class at Hunter. This was my AP US history grade from high school. And this is how it appeared on my transcript that I ordered for myself from Parchment, and I manually input it in. So you're going to put in CR as the grade, which is credit received, and none as the CAS grade. That is what you are going to do for AP scores. Additionally, if you are taking summer classes or if you're taking summer classes, you can put in progress for the next semester, or if you're taking classes in fall of 2025. Okay. Next, we have section 3, supporting information. So we have evaluations, experiences, achievements, licenses, and then of course the personal statement. So evaluations, you can send up to 4 letter of recommendation requests or 1 committee letter. Experiences, so this is going to be where you're filling all your experiences in. This is so important. You have to make sure that don't just think, oh, my personal statement's the most important and experiences don't matter. No, you really need to make sure that even your experiences are tailored to your story and are telling the story that you want to sell to the dental schools. So this is going to include everything you've done throughout college, just college. Do not include experiences from high school or middle school, just college experiences. Then you also have achievement section. So this can include research awards, scholarships, the dean's list, and then you have licenses. So if you're a certified dental assistant, you have like CPR, I don't know, all those licenses. I had none. So now another thing I want to let you all know is that on the experience section and the award section, this was part of mine, and I'm showing you all this so you can see these stars over here. So you can star, so if you have 15 experiences, you can star 6 of them as most important. Now, I don't know what dental schools really think of this. Maybe that's the only ones they're truly reading because they have so many applications, right? So just really be strategic about the ones that you are starring. So as you can see, my volunteer experience, I didn't star because it wasn't most important. It was important, but it wasn't most important to me. And then my research experience was what I starred instead. And then for the awards, you can star 4 awards. Okay. Next, you have program materials, and this is the school-specific applications. I'm going to show you an example of what it looks like. So this is the secondary essays on the, this might sound confusing. This is secondary essays on the primary application. And this is where you're going to assign courses to fulfill the institution's prerequisite courses. For example, let's use NYU Dental. This is NYU Dental's program material section on the AADSAS application. So it looks exactly like this. And as you can see all the way at the bottom, why do you want to pursue your dental education at New York College of Dentistry? So, schools can put their supplemental applications on the primary, like NYU Dentistry did, or they can send you an email like UPenn. UPenn sent an email after submitting the primary with all the questions they wanted you to answer. So schools are going to defer off of what they're going to do. So just keep that in mind. You need to have this answered if you want to submit the primary on June 4th, 2025, if that's your guys' date. Okay, so now we're on to applying. So for applying, I have the wrong dates in here. I'm sorry, guys. 2024 to 2025 cycle, the fees were $264 for the first program and $115 for each additional program. And then they also have a supplemental fee, the schools, which range from $50 to $100. So this is obviously a very expensive process, and you should probably plan to spend at least $1,000. Just letting you all know that. Okay, when you apply, and I cannot stress this enough, submit the first day it opens or as early as you possibly can. I submitted it on the second day because the first day I was anxious and I just had to read everything for like the 10th time. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to do this tomorrow. But do not, if you have everything done, you should have everything done, right? If in the upcoming months, make this your highest priority if you're applying for 2025 to 2026 cycle, because it is so important to apply early. It is going to be like a deal breaker between if you apply in September for NYU versus you apply in June. Like, guys, it's really important. After submitting, it takes a few days to verify the transcript, so don't get worried. Post-submission, just make sure everything was received, okay? And stay in contact via email. Keep checking your inbox and your spam too. So, continuing with applying, interviews. So, there's so many types of dental interviews that you can have. You can have in-person interviews, virtual. Some interviews have 2 parts. And then there's also schools such as NYU and Stony Brook that uses this service called Kira Talent. And Kira is basically a service where I don't know if you guys know what high reviews are, but they are essentially a question pops up on the screen. For example, why do you want to go to Stony Brook Dental? And you have 30 seconds to think about it, and then a minute to answer that question. So it's a little stressful, but you have to do it. The interview invites can be sent as early as July and August. Now, some schools give months before notice, some give weeks, some give 2 weeks. So don't get stressed. That's just how the process is. Make sure to send thank you letters to all of your interviews and make them high quality thank you letters, right? This is something you absolutely need to do. Some applicants can receive invites in spring. Some schools can ghost you. You can send a letter of interest, or there's going to be a PPAP about the letters of interest, the letters of all of those stuff. So make sure you go to that. That's so important. And just know your application inside out when you do these interviews. Okay. Choosing a dental school. So hooray, we have reached December 15th. And so that was the first day that acceptance was offered for my cycle. Not all applicants receive acceptances on this day. You could be put on a wait list, you could be ghosted. And you're also, just make sure, again, this process is so expensive. Deposits can range from $0 to $3,000. I've only heard of one school that has a $0 deposit. But you're gonna have to budget some money for your deposit. So just keep that in mind. Choosing a school just from words of advice. Keep in mind everything: tuition, the cost of attendance, the curriculum, the opportunities you want to pursue, location, class size, extracurricular activities that may be at the school, dual degrees, pass rates for board exams, and specialty rates. These are all things you want to keep in mind when you do get to choose a school. So hooray, that's good. Now the conclusion. Just some conclusions that I have came to is: one, do not do activities just because. There are so many pre-dental students that are doing activities just for the sake of doing them, but it is so obvious. I really do think in the interviews, you know, if you just did something just to do it, just to talk about it for the application, that's not a smart thing to do. Of course, you have to do shadowing, and of course, you have to do assisting, things of that sort. That's mandatory. But if you're doing that just because, do you really want to be a dentist? So think about that. Do not compare yourself to others. That's so important. I just went down so many Student Doctor Network and Reddit rabbit holes comparing interview dates and don't do that. It's so pointless. 3, do not be scared to ask for help. That's so important. Always ask people for help. Yeah. And 4, be extremely proactive. You don't want time to be the reason why you don't get into dental school after all the hard work that you put into this process. So don't, if Penn is giving you 2 weeks to write that supplement, you better be submitting that within those 2 weeks. Do not under any circumstance wait till the last day. So yeah. Thank you all. So now we're gonna take questions. Does everyone have do you guys have the capability to speak? I wasn't allowed to like unmute myself before. Okay, Ray, can you could speak. Can you unmute? No, okay. Let me try to fix that. Okay, I got it. You can unmute yourself now, Ray.
Okay, hi Amanda. Thank you so much for the seminar. I'm just wondering, like, so do you have somebody to help you to check the primary access you wrote before you submit?
So I used the pre-health office. They were so helpful. and Camille really, really helped me. I also just gave it to my sister, who is, she's just good at writing and just a fresh pair of eyes. She's younger than me. Um, so you just use anyone around you that you trust, that you may look up um, to have a fresh pair of eyes, and then also the pre-health office, I'm sure, would be happy to help you as well.
Got it. So like so for like some community packet and also community letter applicants, like we have done the like the primary like those kind of question prompts, like for example in January when we apply for the community packet. Are those like basically the same thing you're gonna see when you actually do the application?
Yeah, so are you talking about the committee letter application?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a lot of the the committee letter application, you had to write your personal statement, so that's identical to the application. And then all the other questions, there's not that many questions that they're going to give you compared to the committee letter application, which had so many questions.
Yeah.
You're not going to answer 50 questions for the dental school application, but those questions, I will say, are going to help you so much just with whatever the schools may be throwing your way. I will say the secondary application for the committee letter process for anyone who's doing that is extremely accurate to the secondaries that the schools are going to be giving you. It's almost identical. So I would say the secondaries, keep that in mind.
Got it. I'm just so for just let me confirm. So basically, when we talk about primary, it's just like those experiences like under those columns on the application page. That's what we're actually talking about, right?
Yeah, so your primary, just to show you, and also, guys, I see all your questions in the chat. I'm gonna answer it after. So just to reiterate, the primary, how do I get out of this? The primary is like all of this. So it's this personal information, academic history, all of this. And your secondaries are going to be sent to you probably via email, or the schools might make you make a portal. Like NYU makes you make they have their own portal, and then UPenn has their own portal as well. So yeah,
Sure. Sorry, sorry for taking your time. I just want to ask
that was
one more
okay.
question. Yeah, yeah. Like, so I just wonder, like, how, like, what's the process for you to submit your primary? It's like, so first, like, when the like application opens, and then you just first write down draft for the all the primary essays, and then you go to pre-health office for them to check for you, and then you like make sure it's good, and then you input them. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so essentially, the primary application's gonna open up in mid-May. And then you're going to put in everything on your own time, right? So I would advise you to just do it as soon as possible once mid-May hits. And then, yes, Camille or someone, your friends, can look it over with you just to check it. So, yeah, then you're going to submit it once it opens, really opens for submission around June 4th.
Like, is one appointment with, because I really worry because like, they are like very busy people. I don't want to take their time. Like, because those are very long essays, like one appointment time is enough to check on everything.
I think it really depends on, you know, I mean, I can't really say, but but I think you should aim to meet with Camille or Nina, whoever you're meeting with, a few times before you open. But I remember I sat on the call with her once before I submitted it.
Got it. And just basically, she actually went over like everything you want to submit, right? All
Yep.
right, that's very, very helpful. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Yes, of course. All right, so there's a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm just going to go in order. So the first question is, how would a letter packet be attached on this section? So I am not entirely sure. I'm going to assume that you are going to have to add Camille as your letter writer, and she's going to put it in. But to this person, I strongly advise you to show Camille the AADSAS application and ask her, because I'm pretty sure she's going to ask you to just to put her as a contact on there. Um, but just confirm with her. Um, yeah. So I don't want to give you any like solid concrete advice, but ask Camille. I'm taking my DAT on June 14th. Can I still submit my application the first day it opens or no? So I'm actually not entirely sure. I think you do need to have your DAT score. Is this your first DAT or your second DAT? If the application opens on June 4th, and your DAT is on June 14th, then no, you can't submit it on the first day. And then also, huge update to the DAT things. So in the past, prior to March 1st, 2025, all the DAT scores are released right after you take the exam, like literally within 5 minutes of you ending the exam. But now, I think it takes about a month for you to get the score, so just keep that in mind. Another question. How early in advance would you recommend actually setting a date and location to take the DAT? So in reference to applying, I would definitely take the DAT at least 3 or 4 months in advance. Just because also now, I think, don't quote me, it's going to take a month for your DAT score to even be released to you. So that's something to really consider. And then also selecting a date and location, you just want to do, if you're planning to take the DAT, I'm just throwing months out. If you're planning to take the DAT in December 2025, and right now it's February 2025, that's really far out, right? But do it as soon as possible because those dates get really filled up and you don't want to have to travel to take the DAT. I have a question about submitting my DAT score. I took it a few months ago, but I didn't select any schools. Do I have to select all schools or do I submit the score to AADSAS? I definitely, for you, I would go ahead and contact the owners of the DAT. You're gonna have to submit the score to AADSAS in general, but I think what you might have to do not quote me, you would have to go to that website where your dent pin and everything is, and then manually send it to schools. That's what I think, but ask. That's a really important question, so keep that on your top or your priority list and try to get that answered by someone who can give you a concrete, firm answer for that. All right. I am currently an upper junior. I was planning on applying this upcoming cycle, but I won't be able to submit my full application on day one. I plan on taking the DAT this summer, so do you think it would be in my best interest to take a gap year, refine my portfolio, and reapply next year? Okay, what a great question. So if you're taking the DAT this summer, are you going to be taking it in May or early June, or are you going to be taking it in August? If you're taking it in August, and there are many applicants that would just go ahead and full send and still submit their application. However, my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, I would defer and submit the following year because you really want to be able to submit the application. Listen, like day one is ideal, at least within the first month or two. Like this is like absolute, it needs to be within the first month or two. But I mean, if you're like 2 months out from the date, maybe that's really up to you. If it's anywhere over 2-3 months, I would take it next year because it's just it's important. I'm also just someone who's really anxious about those things and just want everything like now. So that's my own opinion, but yeah. All right, next question. Let's say you want 200 volunteering hours by June. Let's say you have 180 hours. Can we update it later? Yes, this is such a good question. Yes, you can absolutely update experiences later. So I don't know if I mentioned that. Oh, where'd it go? I'm trying to find it on my. Yeah, you cannot edit entered experiences after submission, but you can add new experiences and updates the one in progress. So for example, I'm going to open up the presentation again. For example, my research here, it says from May 2nd, 2022 to till date, which is different from this experience, the musical empowerment experience, which ended. I cannot go ahead and edit that. Can you guys see that there? However, I can go and edit this experience because it's in progress. So to whoever asked that question, if you are volunteering and you have 180 hours and you really want 200, make sure that you don't put an end date for your experience so that you can go ahead and update the one in progress. Okay, good question. All right, another question. How did you prepare for DAT and what was your timeline? So my preparation for the DAT, all I used was DAT Bootcamp, which is a very popular website. A lot of people use DAT Bootcamp or DAT Booster. And I gave myself 2 months, 8 perfect weeks, right? Just nothing, literally was just studying every single day. I do think 2 months is actually a very condensed amount of time, and that is the minimum amount of time to study for this exam. But yeah, I took 8 weeks. It was a very stressful 8 weeks. I did not really take rest days. I do not recommend that at all. I'm just being honest with you. So to all the people who asked me that question, I would say take 3 months. But I didn't have 3 months. I could only dedicate 2 months. Okay. Hello, Amanda. Can you update your GPA and new DAT score after you submitted your application? So you can update your transcript. The system is going to confirm your transcript. So you manually put the transcript in, and then you also send the transcript to AADSAS. So they're going to go through and confirm it. So let's say you take summer classes and that boosts your GPA. In the academic update periods, you can put, oh, I got an A in nutrition, and that will up your GPA. As for the DAT, the new DAT score, I'm not entirely sure. My intuition says probably they'll help you with that, but you want to get a solid answer on that elsewhere. Would it be possible for you to send the recording to me through email? I think that Camille has the email, the recording. So, yeah. And if you want, I can send you the presentation if you put your email in the chat, Alexandra. Okay. If you took the DAT once and planning on retake after the application opens, would they wait for your second DAT score before updating or sending interviews? So here's the thing. They don't know if you're going to, they don't have the knowledge that you're going to retake the DAT. So they're not going to wait to send the interviews. They might send you an interview before you put that in. So yeah. Next question from MD. How did you know what the secondary essay prompts? Is there a way to check? Can you share the slides if possible? Yes, I will share the slides to anyone that puts their email in the chat. Now, the secondary essay prompts, is there a way to check? You will know the secondary essay prompts if they're submitting it on the primary once May 14th opens. However, you can go online. Listen, Reddit SDN is really, really good. And they're really, really accurate to what prompts they're gonna be. For example, the committee letter application has a secondary whole thing that you need to do, and those questions were they were the same. So that's good to know. Um, all right, I'm gonna pause for 1 second with the questions in the chat to answer Ray's question. Ray?
Hey, Reed, thank you for your time, Amanda. For example, like if I want to update my score like during the updating period, like I'm worried like if the school I'm applying to like they already review my application, like they see, oh, you got a new score, are they gonna check it again or they gonna just dismiss you? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not entirely sure, but you can always send the admissions office update letters. So guys, this is so important. Please go to the PPAP 1003 on update letters, letters of intent, all letters of continued interest. Go to that meeting, and whoever's doing it was such a good meeting. I learned so much there. Um, I think something like that, maybe you send an update letter. Don't quote me on that. But these admission offices are really, really busy. So I can't give you a solid answer on whether or not they're gonna look at the application again. But I know that if you contact the admissions office with an update letter, um, that could be beneficial for you.
Got it. Just two more questions. So because I'm like like many of us here, like we are like community packet or letter like applicant. So do we still need to like, for example, send the like request recommendation letters separately, or can the community packet just cover that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just the committee letter. You can't submit anything additionally. So on the evaluation section, you can submit 4 requests or just one committee letter request. So if you're getting a committee letter, you only have the option of just adding Camille, basically, for to
Got
in
it.
the letter. Yeah.
One more like it might be a dumb question. It's like I'm getting like GPA of like 3.695. It like it make a big difference if I make it 3.7 because that's like one more semester or now for me. You know what I'm saying?
Um, well, I think that that's a good GPA, and I think that it's not going to make too much of a difference because you're so close. That's my own personal opinion. And then also when you put everything in, so if you have, I'm just using a number. If someone has like a 3.819 GPA, on the application, AADSAS has this whole thing and it actually like inflated it by like 0.01 or 0.001. So it might actually
Okay.
make you go up anyway to a 3.7.
All right. Is it like they just like first like they rank you or like they put you like in order based on your GPA or DAT and then they do like from top to bottom? Is that how they do it? I'm so sorry.
So most schools do not do that. I will say, and this is a rumor, I think Columbia does that. I think that Columbia does that's the only school that I've noticed the trend with that. But no, I don't that's not how they do it. Most schools don't do it like that. They
Okay, that's
put you in a yeah.
so they actually like review everything and then they decide based on the whole thing, right?
Of course, yeah.
All right.
It's dental schools is a like the whole admissions process is a very, very holistic decision. It's very, very holistic. Yeah.
Really appreciate you, Amanda. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think this is the last. I mean, no, maybe there's a few more. So Anna asked, so with the new changes to the scoring, if the application opens in June, when should I take my exam by? Early May? I think you should take it earlier than that personally, because now I'm going to get this information for you guys. I am pretty sure that the new DAT scoring, it makes it so that you don't get the score right away. You have to wait. I think it's about an a month. Um, Yeah, it says the new scoring system requires additional analysis to provide a more precise score so you don't get it right away. So I would definitely take it a little bit earlier than that if your goal is that you're applying as early as possible. All right. Yes, I'm gonna take pictures of these people's emails. Hold on. All right. I am currently studying for the DAT and taking science classes simultaneously with the goal of taking it early May. Do you think this is doable? Um, Studying for the DAT. Yes, I think it's doable. I think that there's a lot of people that take the DAT or the MCAT during school, and props to anyone who's doing that. I don't think I can do it. I'm someone who just likes, I have one goal, one at a time. But if you really just study super, super hard, um, I think it's very possible, and I know people that have done this. So, yeah, especially you said you started beginning of February, so you shouldn't be too bad as long as you keep applying yourself and doing well. Sorry, just taking pictures of people's emails. Does the pre-health office send the letter of rec out for us, or do we manually do it? So if you have the committee letter, you are going to attach Camille or whoever they say to as the contact for the committee letter, and then she's gonna do it. So all you have to do is like put her email in. Another question. Regarding GPA, how do we calculate the science GPA? I know people say the Hunter website has some resource, but it isn't science specific. Good question. So the Hunter website resource, they have like a whole GPA calculator. Now, what you're going to want to do is it's called a BCPM GPA. So this is biology, biology, chemistry, physics, math. So that's your BCPM GPA. That is your science GPA. And you can use the resource, but you can only put in classes that are designated as biology, chemistry, physics, or math. So that's kind of what you do. So you don't put in every course, don't put in your English courses, just put in biology, chemistry, physics, math, and then that gives you your science GPA. All right. What is your recommended safe score to apply? It really depends on what school you want to go to and what your whole goal is with the process. Again, I know you guys heard this a million times. It's really a holistic thing. Um, I personally, my whole goal was to get the committee letter. So mine was if I didn't get a 22 or above, I wasn't gonna apply. That's just my own personal thing, and I know I wanted to go to a school higher on the dental school tier list. That's my own personal thing. Um, but I think the average acceptance score for matriculates to dental school is 20. So maybe 20 could be safe. But again, if you have a 20, but you have 3,000 hours of great clinical experience and I don't know, you just blow their minds in the admissions office, you can still get into a great school. So it's really a holistic thing. Can we get your email for other questions if you don't mind? Yes. I'm going to put my email in the chat. Oh, guys, my keyboard's like half broken because I spilled coffee on it. So, oh no, wait. Okay, there it goes. All right. Can you share your DAT score? Yes, so I got a 25 on the DAT. Do not let this guy scare you. Don't get scared. Um, yeah, don't get scared. Um, I know people who got into dental school with a lower score, so don't be scared. Does statistics count as a math course? Yes, it does, and I was so happy to hear that. So you can put your statistics class in for your BCPM GPA. All right, does anyone else have any questions? What tips do you recommend for topics that you don't understand to master? I'm gonna try to think about a topic I didn't understand. I think a topic I didn't understand, did not come naturally to me, was physics. And the way that I mastered that was just by doing so many problems. It really depends on what the science class is for kind of how you're going to master things. For example, with biology at Hunter's so hard, and the way I mastered it is by watching the videos on repeat, like a podcast, like 3 times, 4 times. For something like moles or reactions, that's something to master it. You do problems. You can watch a video on YouTube, someone who's going to really break it down. YouTube is so good, guys. And then just you do problems, problems, problems. Use ChatGPT to make problems for you, and then you do the problems. Things like that. So that's my advice. Any more questions? All right, guys. Um, I hope this was all really helpful for you. I'm going to send an email to all of those that asked for me to send the PDF for the AADSAS, the presentation I presented. So yeah, thank you guys. I just hope you have a wonderful day and good luck with the process. Yeah. All right. Bye.